I'm Manveen Rana, Innovations Editor here at Hub Culture at Davos 2024, and I'm joined by Jens Nielsen from the World Climate Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming to talk to us. Climate is such a big subject at Davos this year. It feels like it's really in the spotlight. It comes very soon after COP28. For you, is this real progress? Is there a sense of momentum?
Yeah, I think so. And it's not just climate, it's also nature and biodiversity that's very high on the agenda here in Davos. So that is great both at the World Economic Forum but also in all the events outside. So that's fantastic to see that it's not just artificial intelligence and blockchain that is talked about.
Although there is a lot of that as well.
Yes, indeed.
In terms
for good reasons also, though.
That's true, and they do link up in many ways.
Yeah, definitely, yes. It's positive in that sense.
And in terms of nature and biodiversity, there are so many targets on climate that, get an awful lot of international attention. Do you feel like we talk about nature and biodiversity enough? And are there sort of measurable targets that people should be very aware of, that globally we have to agree in order to try and save the planet?
I think we globally get more agreements, but what is missing is action. And what you see is actually that reality, at least last year, has been stress testing the whole COP system and also what's happening here. So the rising temperature that we see, the extreme weather events. And you can even see that in the global risk report that came out now. Well, in the short term, number one risk factor for the CEOs of this world is misinformation. And disinformation actually, but number two is extreme weather events.
Yeah.
And when you look at a time horizon, you see the top 4 risks to the world are all environmental risk.
Wow, I mean, that's such a serious subject, and yet we have seen a number of governments slightly rowing back on it. We're looking potentially at a Trump presidency in America this year, where again there would be a sense of rowing back on climate promises. Is there a fear that, if you take the foot off the accelerator at government level, does that have an impact across the economy? Are you worried that businesses are talking about ESG less and there is a sense of people, nodding at targets but just not meeting them?
Well, if you take the US, you've seen before that when you have one force, the Republicans coming into power, then you see that the states are sort of taking their own charge, the democratic states. So there's always a checks and balance system in the US.
Yeah.
So I don't fear that much. I think actually it's been positive that the meeting between the US and China at the very top level that happened in the autumn in California, those are the positive things we need to see more of, that you see more bilateral agreements between the big superpowers.
And one of the lovely things about a place like Davos is that not only do you have all the governments coming together, big businesses who can start collaborating around big aims around climate and things like that, you also have a lot of people turning up who have ideas about how you can try and fix some of these problems. You have sort of a merger of sort of AI to look at climate as well. What have been the most exciting things you've heard this week that make you think that's quite hopeful?
I think it's all the, I would say, cross-sector collaborative dialogues and coalitions that you hear about and you can see are being established because really, most of the innovation comes from the private sector or business. The money that you have, most of the money that you need to get to a net zero, nature positive future, that also resides in the private financial sector. And the reform is going to come from government. So you need business, finance, government, and civil society to interact together to change the economy to a more greener state.
It's on the way.
Yeah, it's on the way.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Jens, thanks very much for joining us here at
You're
Davos.
welcome. Yeah.
I'm Manveen Rana.
Thank you.